Hi, I'm Larry Puckett, the DCC guy. Back in video 83, I showed you a set of tools that I use specifically for DCC work. Today what I want to do is show you another set of tools, 10 of them, that I use almost every day when I'm down here working in the layout. So stick around and we'll get started. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started with a look at what I consider my 10 essential tools for use in my modeling work. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom down onto the workbench and we'll take a look at what I've got here to show you. Okay, let's start right here. Now, I previously have, mentioned the Duron track cutters. These also are very good for just cutting any other kind of wire on your model railroad and for buildings and, for cutting sprues, any kind of thing like that. These will work great. But in addition to those, I have these small ones here. These are Sprue Cutters, and they are designed specifically for getting into tight spaces on metal and plastic sprues and for separating out the little detail parts from the sprue itself. They've got a very nice sharp pointed tip here, and they'll get in there. Now another item, and this one is, all of these you can get at Micromark, by the way, and this one specifically is made by Micromark, and what it is designed for use with plastic only. So it allows you to really get in there very close on those little plastic parts in your building kits and on your locomotive models and the like. And just to snip those off, it's a flush cutter, very, very sharp material. So it'll get in there and do your cutting job and give you a nice flush cut with a nice smooth finish. Now, while we're talking about cutting, let's go ahead and look at scissors, because I use two sets of small scissors, and I use them all the time. This one in particular I use a lot. It's the one I usually go to first. And you can see it has a sharp pointed blade on one side and a much heavier blade here on the other side. So it's great for cutting anything up to thin styrene and paper, for decals, that kind of thing. For getting in close with decals, I like to use these double pointed sharp tip scissors, and both of these are medical grade material, and but you can get these from Micromark, and you can pick stuff up like this at train shows and eBay. You can buy these off of eBay. Now, a couple of different types of knives, and this one here on the left I use a lot. I mean, it is a very nice, very sharp, nice point on it, double-sided blade. And, it's great for just about cutting all kinds of things, plastic and paper, for your models. And I love this handle. This is an Exacto handle. It's not cheap, but, it's coated in rubber, so it is very easy on your hands. You can grip it, and it's not very hard to hold at all. Also, it has a little ridge right here. I don't know if you can see that, but that prevents it from rolling away. Okay, so it's a great little design, and you just twist this right here, and the blade comes out, and you can put a new blade in there, and then give it a good twist to get it in there good and solid. Okay, and then the other one that I use, and I use this one more than just about any other knife I've got. This is my number 17 blade, and this is just your your general cheap knife handle. But in this one I have my Exacto number 17 blade, and this one, it's a chisel point flat blade. It's great for getting in there and smoothing stuff, for chopping real close. You can get that blade in there, or you can actually use the chisel side to cut in too. So it's great for those kind of jobs. But let me point out one thing you want to do: get yourself a good set of blades. Okay, you can go to the hobby store and buy all this stuff. I ordered most of this off of, I think probably came from Micromark. The other source for blades and the like, now you can buy small packs of blades, Exacto blades, both the 17 and the 11, off of at hobby shops and Micromark and places like that. But if you go to to eBay and to Amazon.com, you can buy packages of 100 of these blades. And this is what I do, because you're going to, in the long run, it's going to cost you a little bit more up front, but this will last me over 10 years. And in the end, you're always going to have a sharp blade handy. So take a look for those, and you can get both of these, like I said, on Amazon and eBay. Now, in a previous video, I showed this particular set of Forceps, and this is what a dentist would use to pick up cotton balls to shove in your mouth, that kind of thing. And I use this for working with wire and all kinds of small parts. But I also have a couple of others. This one here is a fairly nice, it's got a curved blade here, as you can see, and it's good for picking up small parts. But even more, this little guy here with these little fine tips on it, it's really good for getting in there and picking up things like little KD springs and windshield wipers to put on your models, all kinds of things like this. And again, these are available from Micromark. Finally, this guy here. This particular type of Forceps opens when you push in on it. Now these, when you push, it closes the tips. With this one, it's basically spring-loaded so that you have to push it to open it, okay, or squeeze it to open it. And this is great because you can put little parts in here that you want to paint, little figures or detail parts. You just clip them in here, do your painting, and then you can set them down and let them dry. You can also, if you're soldering a piece of wire or putting solder on a small detail part before you're attaching it, you can clip it in here, set it down, and you've got a little vise, basically, that's going to hold the part while you do your soldering, hold the solder in one hand and the iron in the other, and solder on the piece of work. So this, I think, is a very versatile pickup to have, let me tell you. Okay, now, another thing, a good set of screwdrivers. And I have two sets. I have this set here, and it's got 4 different flathead screwdrivers in it, and then it's got 2 different Phillips. And these, I can't stress the importance of having the right tool for the job that you're doing. And, the last thing you want to be doing is using a flathead type screwdriver to remove a Phillips screw. I've seen more people damage heads and strip them out using that kind of an approach if you don't use the right tool. So get yourself, a good set of screwdrivers. This particular set, there's 6 in the set, and I probably got these from Micromark again. The next item that I want to stress the importance of, files. Now these are called needle files, and they're, very small files. And this set has more than enough. It's got a variety of flat ones, rounded ones, round ones, square ones, triangular shaped, you name it, they're in here. And they're great because, anytime you need a flat file, you've got it, These are great for working on track. I use this one a lot because it's sort of like a knife shape. It's broader here on this side and then comes down to a blade-like thickness here. So you can get it in between the points on your turnouts and file those points down to a nice finish so that you get a good tight contact between your points and your stock rails. So it's great for that. It can get in between those flanges on your on the turnout as well and get those cleaned out. So there's a lot of different things you can do with these. These are good. This flat one here I use for cleaning off the top and bottoms of the shanks of KD couplers before I install them, because you want to get a nice smooth finish on those KDs if you want them to operate properly. I also had, at one time, this was a set I think of about 5 different very, very small needle files, and these are great for getting into really tight spots. I'm down to just the round one and this flat one with a rounded side on the back. So I need to find another set of these, but I haven't come across them lately. Typically you can find these on eBay and various other places. I'm going to have to look and see if Micromark is carrying these guys. Okay, let's take a look at these here. These are an assortment of sanding sticks. And I use these largely instead of using sandpaper. And these here came in a set that I purchased, as you can see, from Micromark a number of years ago. These are probably 15 to 20 years old because Micromark doesn't sell these anymore. So you get a coarse and a fine grit material. They're called a FlexiPad, and they're now made by this company here, FlexiFile, and they're still called a FlexiPad. So this is the medium. I imagine that they might have made these for Micromark at the time. But at any rate, you can find these at a number of hobby dealers, and I use these all the time. And like I said, these are probably 15 to 20 years old, so they last a long time. But they're not cheap. But, you know, they will last you, so it's a good investment to get a set of these. And the ones that I primarily use are the medium and the fine grit. But I think they sell these now in sets of various combinations. Another thing, if you don't want to pay that price, this right here is a nice sanding stick. Okay, it's flexible. It's very similar to this right here. And I get this from my wife. And, the ladies use this for working on their fingernails. Okay, so it's got a coarse side and a fine side, and they're a lot cheaper than these guys here. And you can purchase these, in the cosmetics department at, your CVS pharmacy and similar types of pharmacies, and they're great for doing sanding, just like these guys here. Now, another thing about these I forgot to mention, you can cut these to various shapes to get them in there. A lot of people don't want to do that, but I've obviously modified these over the years, and you could do it with this one here as well. So there also are beauty supply stores in various towns where you can pick these up fairly inexpensively. Another thing are these Emery boards. And again, these are used by the ladies for working on their fingernails. But at any rate, these come with a coarse and a fine side. And they're great for just getting in there and doing whatever filing you need. These are very inexpensive. They're disposable. They don't last a long time. But again, they're a lot cheaper than these guys here. Okay. Sandpaper. Okay, another thing. This guy here, I call this a scratch brush, and I got this from, I'm pretty sure, Micromark a number of years ago. It's called a Eurotool and made in Germany. That might be the company, Eurotool. Beats me. But it's made in Germany. And as you can see, it's got this wire brush tip here, which comes out and is retractable, just like a mechanical pencil. And these are great because you can use this. This one here, the brush is brass. And you can get these in replacement tips in steel and also fiberglass. Now, I do not use the fiberglass one at all. That's why it looks brand new. The reason being that it is little strands of fiberglass, and it's great for getting in and doing, close-up work to distress wood and plastic in some cases. But I ended up with little bits of fiberglass in my fingertips, so that doesn't get used anymore. The steel one is very aggressive, and it works very well for cleaning paint and other goo and other grunge off of your rails before you're going to do soldering for the rail joints and for feeders and that kind of thing. It's also great if you get paint or glue or anything else on your forceps, then you can just use that to get in there and clean those up. It's also good, if I can find it, it also works very well for cleaning out files because periodically you should clean your file, okay, and get the built-up material out of the indentations on those files, okay, so that they work well. I think I'm doing that backwards there. Yeah. So you want to get in there and clean those out periodically. Like I said, this steel one is good for, cleaning up your rails and those kind of things before you're going to do any work on them as far as soldering and the like. This one here, the brass one, I use this one a lot for distressing wood. So you can, if you're building a wood kit and you want to make it look older, you can just run this across it several times, and it's going to create striations in the wood and create a really nice effect of weathered wood. And so I use that a lot. This one here, you can also use it, but it's going to be much, much more aggressive. Okay, so give it a try on some scrap and see which one you like the best. You can also use these on styrene to create wood grain effects in the styrene. So it's great for that. And like I said, so for cleaning tools, for cleaning up rails before you do any soldering, and for distressing wood and plastic on kits that you're going to be building. And again, that came from Micromark, and you can buy these replacement tips from Micromark as well. Now, another thing. Let me do this first. Another thing that I use a lot of is a pin vise drill bit. It's also called a twist drill. And what it is, we've got a small drill bit here in the tip. This is about a number 76, which I use the most of. It's very good for drilling holes in models for inserting small parts like windshield wipers and bells and horns and all of those aftermarket products that you want to add to your locomotives to make them look more prototypical. Okay, and this is a nice one. I've got 3 of these, and this is the best one I prefer because it's got this little rotating tip here. So you can just put that down, hold it with your finger, and twist. And it will drill a hole in no time if you've got a sharp bit. And then you can insert the detail part. Okay. It also, this is removable. And it came with several different collets like this that are sized for different size bits. So you can just pop that in there and screw it back on, and then you screw it down tight on your drill bit. If I can get this picked up. This is where this little guy here comes in quite handy. There. You slip that in there like that, close it, and you're ready to go to work. Okay. Now, you can get that from Micromark. This is a little set of drill bits. It holds anything from a 61 to an 80 bit in here. And as you can see, they're arrayed in this little trays. And I've, used some over the years and lost them and broke them and things like that. There are a lot of them in here that you just never use, but that's true of any kind of assortment like this. But, it's fairly inexpensive up front to have a good set like this. And then you can buy individual replacement bits. These are number 76s from Micromark, and you'll have them on hand for the ones that you use a lot of. So I can't stress, these are very, very important to have, because anytime that you want to install a small detail part where you're going to have to drill a hole for it, you're going to want something like this. Now, get that out of the way. Okay, now let's take a look at this. This is a typical shot glass. Okay, so good shot right there. Anytime you're modeling, fill that up with bourbon or scotch or gin or vodka or whatever you like, and then you can sip away. And then when it comes time to do some gluing or some painting, you drink it down, turn it over, and you've got a great depression here for holding the liquid that you're going to be working with. There's a big difference between different types of shot glasses. This one is 1 in a million. Let me tell you, I have looked for more of these, and it's very hard to find one like this, because you can see from my finger how deep the impression is in here. So there's a very deep depression. You can put your liquid in there, and then you can work with it, dip your little whatever you're using to apply your super glue or your paint or your oil, and then apply it. And it's not going to go away. Then, once the grunge builds up and it won't come out, and this is very important with super glue, all you have to do is take one of these number 17 blades and just work around, and you can pop all of that grungy dried super glue and glue out of here, and it's like new again. Now, you'll have to look around quite a lot. Most of the shot glasses that are made today are basically pretty flat on the bottom. And like I said, I have never found another one quite this nice. I do have another one that has a shallow depression, and I use it upstairs when I'm doing work up there in my office. But this one here, I use this one a lot for my super glue mainly, and you can use them, like I said, for paint and oil. Okay, now, applicators. And I think I've shown you these before when I was doing work on things, but at any rate, these are called a micro brush, and I got these off of eBay. You can buy these at your local hobby shop, and they are great for applying glue, oil, and paint, or, as I'll tell you in a minute, mascara and other makeup. At any rate, so they're great for getting in and applying liquids wherever you need to. So I use this a lot. This is the larger one. I use it for painting the sides of wheels before I install them on rolling stock so that they get a good weathered appearance. And I bought these. These are 3 different sizes in an assortment from a seller, an eBay seller from China. And I'm not sure which one's smaller, those two. In a lot of cases, there's a lot of variety in here. They are not that well sorted as far as size goes. But at any rate, you can buy these at your local hobby shop. They're available in small packages. And of course, if you buy something like this in a small package, you're going to pay a lot more for it. I got these, as I said, off of eBay from a Chinese seller there. And I got these for about the same as what it would cost me to buy a small package at a local hobby shop. So look in the makeup section for these on eBay. And look for micro brushes or makeup brushes, that kind of thing, because that's what they're sold for. And when you get them from China, I got these very inexpensively, including shipping, and it only took about a week for them to get here from China. Now, this one here I showed you a minute ago. Once one of these gets all grunged up with glue and paint and other stuff, oil, whatever, I just take my Exacto blade and I just snip this off. And then I will work this to a nice point like that, just like sharpening any other piece of wood. And then I have a nice applicator that I can apply super glue or oil or whatever I want with. So that's, another use for these. Don't throw them away after they get all grunged up, because there is a use for them after that. Well, that's pretty much all I have to say about tools. I hope you find some of those useful for your modeling work. And like I said, I use just about all of those every time that I'm down here in the train room working on some of my models. So I hope you have a great weekend, and we'll see you back here on Monday with another new video. And in that video, I've got some announcements to make about changes that are coming to the DCC Guide channel. So be sure to take a few minutes to watch that video, and I'll have those announcements at the beginning. So have a great weekend and stay safe out there, and we'll see you on Monday. Bye now.